Hello and welcome. Tonight, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, alleges threats to life and a grand plan by the All Progressives Congress, the APC, to remove the Deputy Senate President, Ekweremadu, from office. The All Progressives Congress, APC, refutes claims that it is trying to frame Senate President, Deputy Senate President, Ekweremadu. And suicide bomb killed 6 people at the church in Patiskum in Yobe State. Also, the Greek referendum suggests votes reject the term of the international bailout. We begin tonight from Abuja, the nation's capital, where the opposition People's Democratic Party, the PDP, has alleged threats to life and blackmail by the All Progressives Congress, all in a bid to remove the Deputy Senate President, whom they say was duly and constitutionally elected. According to the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Mr. Olisa Metu, some senators loyal to some leadership of the All Progressives Congress have, amongst other things, concocted a petition to the Nigerian police alleging that the Deputy Senate President altered the rules of the National Assembly to enable him emerge as Deputy Senate President. This, they say, is to enable the party give an official stamp to all of its plots. The party also alleged that the same group is involved in secret talks with some senior lawyers and a judge to obtain a court order restraining him from performing his duties. The party, however, urged the Deputy Senate President to honor the invitation if it does not violate the rules of the Senate and the Constitution.
Apparently, to ensure that the agenda is given an official stamp, the Inspector General of Police, acting on instructions, has invited the Deputy Senate President with a view to arresting him over phantom charges as they build up to incarcerate him, create a vacuum in the Senate, and pave way for the imposition of APC previous senator to take his position. We are aware that some APC senators opposed to the emergence of Senators Bukola Saraki and Ekweremadu as President and Deputy President of the Senate, respectively, met last week and concocted a petition accusing the Deputy Senate President of altering the rules, the Senate rules, on the process of election of presiding officers. Apart from the fact that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria clearly guarantees the 2 chambers of the National Assembly the powers to regulate their proceedings without external interference, we note that the petition by this group of senators who enjoy the sympathy of some APC leaders lacks merit, as Senator Ekweremadu or any other senator-elect prior to the inauguration of the Senate and the election of the presiding officers could not have been involved in the process of producing the 2015 standing rules of the Senate, which was strictly done by the bureaucracy under the clerk to the National Assembly.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress, APC, has denied having anything to do with the alleged invitation of Deputy Senate President Ekweremadu by the police. In a statement, the party's National Publicity Secretary, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, insists the APC neither wrote a petition to the police nor is aware of any petition written against the Deputy Senate President. Alhaji Lai Mohammed was responding to the allegations made by his opposite number in the People's Democratic Party, Chief Olisa Metu. The PDP spokesperson had in a press conference today in Abuja accused the APC of attempting to orchestrate the arrest of the Deputy Senate President Ekweremadu. This, he said, is by having the Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arasi, invited the Deputy Senate President's report to report at the force headquarters in Abuja tomorrow, where he would be detained. But in his response, the APC spokesperson says that if the PDP claims the petition concerns alleged altering of the Senate standing rules on the process of electing presiding officers, that is a clear case of forgery, which the people and the police have a duty to investigate. The APC adds that if there is indeed a petition against Senator Ekweremadu, he should gladly need heed to the police's invitation in order to clear his name of any charges. A male suicide bomber has killed 6 people, including himself, at a Redeemed Christian Church in Potiskum, Yobe State, Nigeria's northeast region. Red Cross official Hassan Alhaji Muhammad, who visited the scene of the blast on the outskirts of Potiskum, says that the people were just going to the church when the bomber entered, otherwise the casualty figures would have been much higher. Worshippers at the church, located in Jigawa area in the outskirts of Potiskum, told Channels Television that the suicide bomber who detonated the improvised explosive device in the church also killed 5 other worshippers. The police public relations officer, ASP Toyin Badigesing, who confirmed the incident, says that another female worshipper in the church was seriously injured in the attack and is being attended to at the Potiskum General Hospital. The president has condemned today's deadly attack on a church in Potiskum by a suicide bomber suspected to be a Boko Haram member. A statement from the presidency says the president, Muhammadu Buhari, deeply regrets the unfortunate loss of lives in the attack and commiserates with all those who lost loved ones in the incident. Well, according to the statement, President Muhammadu Buhari condemns the resumption of terrorist attacks on places of worship, which he describes as highly revered places for prayers and communication with God for most Nigerians. The president adds that terrorists who wantonly attack our places of worship have willfully declared war on all that we value and must therefore be confronted with all our might and collective resolve. The President Muhammadu Buhari also reaffirmed his administration's total commitment to doing everything possible to eradicate Boko Haram's terrorism and mindless extremism from Nigeria in the shortest possible time. Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has repeated his concerns about the mass killings and bombings of churches and mosques by Boko Haram insurgents in the northeast of the country. A statement issued by the Speaker's office today says that the motive of the terrorists is to instill fear in the minds of Nigerians by engaging in mass killings of helpless citizens. He goes on to condemn today's bomb attacks on worshippers in a church in Potiskum, Yobe State, describing it as barbaric, inhuman and wicked. He says he's deeply worried over the new dimension taken by the terrorists, as exemplified by the increasing spate of mass murder by the Boko Haram insurgents in recent days. He adds that as men of faith, Nigerians should not lose hope in the capacity of the Nigerian state and in the security apparatus to subdue the insurgents and bring the violence to an expected end. Speaker Dogara maintains that by embarking on mass killings and annihilation of the communities, the intention of the terrorists is to instill fear and create doubt in the minds of citizens to the point that they will no longer have faith and trust in the state. However, the Speaker said that Nigerians and Nigeria will never succumb to this new dimension of terrorism and urged the people not to despair, as according to him, we shall overcome. Part of the statement reads, quote, "With God on our side, there is no challenge that is insurmountable. I have strong convictions in my heart that this too shall pass away." End of quote. He goes on to praise the efforts of the officers and men of the military and other security agencies at the battlefront to urge them not to cave in to terrorism, as their sacrifices shall not be unrewarded by the Nigerian state. Well, also adding his voice to condemn today's bomb attacks on church in Yobe State is the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki. He's also asking the insurgents to accept the federal government's offer of peaceful negotiations. Senator Bukola Saraki said in a statement today in Abuja that my heart is with the individuals and families who were directly or indirectly affected by this ungodly, sadistic and evil act. Sending Nigerians to their untimely grave can never be the solution to any religious, political or economic grievances. The Senate President also commended the military for their timely response to the attacks and urged them to do all within their power to prevent such dastardly acts. Well, now, as the terror and war against Boko Haram in Nigeria's northeast continues, former President Goodluck Jonathan is appealing to Nigerians to continue to support and pray for his successor, President Muhammadu Buhari. Dr. Jonathan was speaking on his official Facebook page today while reacting to the church bombing in Yobe State, which left over 6 people dead. The former president says that today's incident is a sad reminder that the war against terror is a task for all Nigerians and not only the armed forces. A part of Dr. Goodluck Jonathan's Facebook post reads, quote, "I urge all Nigerians to continue to pray for peace in Nigeria and to support the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari as the government does its best to bring an end to these acts of terror and secure all Nigerians. May God bless Nigeria." End of quote. The Borno State government has commended the Nigerian military for its gallantry shown during Friday night's attack by insurgents on Zabarmari, a village at the outskirts of Maiduguri, the state capital. The insurgents reportedly launched the attacks from Koshibi, a neighboring town where they had mobilized, although they were confronted by the military and youth vigilantes for 2 hours there. They later gained entry into Zabarmari, where they looted food items and bombarded the town. Witnesses say that 5 civilians and 2 soldiers died in the attack.
Koshebe village, Emafa, barely 27 kilometers away from Maiduguri, is one of the latest strongholds of the insurgents. Residents of the neighboring Zabarmari village have fled their town for fear of further attacks from the assailants just few kilometers away. Some of the fleeing locals do not feel safe even in Maiduguri, the state capital.
Boko Haram came in 2 guerrilla fighter cars and 2 armored tanks. I am going to Maiduguri and from there I'll proceed to Kano. It was around 5 p.m. yesterday when Boko Haram came and started shooting. Our soldiers tried their best, but they were overpowered and the insurgents entered our town. We saw 7 corpses.
Residents say Friday night's experience could have been worse if the small army unit military had not stood its ground until they were eventually overwhelmed.
Yesterday, God helped our army, and if not for their effort, more than 1,000 people could have died. The soldiers took 2 armored tanks and engaged the insurgents, and we scampered for safety. 5 more armored tanks came in around 10 p.m. We thank God, and we thank our soldiers. I cannot quantify how many they were because they were shelling us from all angles like rain. The captain in charge stood his ground and they exchanged fire non-stop for at least 2 hours. At the city gate, they fired at our machine gun and it stopped working. So we faced them, but by then the magazines of most of the soldiers had been exhausted and we began to retreat.
Governor Kashim Shettima remains optimistic that insurgents are losing the war.
The LGU said 1 life lost in cold blood is as gruesome as millions lost in a pogrom. Let's not talk about numbers, but let's be honest. 7 is still a much more lower figure compared to the casualty figures we suffered in Kukawa, in Mongono, and at the Mona garage. So only 7 people lost their lives. About 10 sustained injuries, but you have had them paying tribute to some of the officers. As a result of embarrassing them, I have to mention of 1 Colonel Abubakar and 1 Captain Miller and their men. So I want to thank them and the GOC on behalf of the government and people of Borno State.
Governor Shettima equally assured hundreds of locals taking refuge in a school in Old Maiduguri to return home. The 7th Division of the Nigerian Army in Maiduguri has since sent reinforcements to boost the fighting power of the troops on the ground.
In part 2 after the break, as the United States assures Nigeria of continued support towards a stronger democracy and a free and independent people. Stay with us.